So Andrew Berry goes and adds 2 defensive backs to the Browns from the same team, and that defensive tandem played on what was the best secondary in the NFL. And what I'm referring to, John Johnson, was signed earlier by the Browns. And Johnson kind of talked about his role. So did he or didn't he help recruit Troy Hill? Johnson met with the media, and here's what he had to say about Troy Hill joining the Browns.
I had talked to him. I wouldn't say I recruited, but, I had said, like, hey, man, look, if things ain't adding up, you know how I am. You can get right over here with me. So when Troy texted me, he said, look, I'm about to end up in Cleveland with you. I thought he was just playing around, and then the news broke. And I was like, whoa. So that'll be fun. A guy that you're familiar with. I know it's still football at the end of the day, but it is kind of like a new journey, and it's kind of good to have somebody that you're comfortable with here. We can meet everyone together. I know how he plays. He know how I play. So it'll be fun. And I think what made us so good is we did the little things right and with discipline. I was talking to Coach Joe Woods and Jeff, and we were talking about tackling and killing blocks. Like, those are small things that go unnoticed, but we did them really, really well, and like with really, really great discipline. And we really honed in on those small things all the time. Like, we didn't really have too many times where guys are bust a coverage or wasn't running to the ball or wasn't giving an effort. So the small things really ended up being huge things in the end.
And that is John Johnson III, the Browns' newest safety, the big-name safety, talking about Troy Hill, who he played with. And Dan, there's something to that. There's a level of comfort and familiarity where they know each other's games. That just helps them acclimate a little bit better into the Browns' defense, I think. Your thoughts on that?
Well, especially when you're talking about a corner and a safety, and you've got to be in constant communication. You've got to know how a guy likes to play certain receivers, if he likes to play physical, if you're passing guys off to each other, it's always kind of good to know and, have some of those unspoken like signals to each other, things like that, to be able to communicate. So yeah, I think it's an advantage to have a couple of guys that have played together, especially when you're talking about a safety and a potential slot corner. Those are 2 guys that their paths are probably going to cross a few times this season.
Well, the other thing is in listening to John Johnson speak, it was like, boy, Cleveland fans are going to love this guy. The big smile, the attitude, wants to win. There's a lot to like in just in the way he presents himself. I think once fans get to know him, this is going to be a guy that the city really takes to.
And I think he'll end up, he's here in part because of his leadership. And there was a little bit of, I'm thinking back to when Jarvis Landry was introduced and what Jarvis has represented on the offensive side of the ball, that leadership and that culture change that he brought. I felt like there was a little bit of that with John Johnson too. This guy is a leader. This guy is here to help bring in the culture they want. They really focused on that offensive side of the football last offseason. And now I think they brought in a guy that I think is going to be one of their cornerstones on the defensive side.